This is the World Financial Report on radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial and diamond expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping the show on Thursday, November the 13th, 2014. Our time is 8:44 Mountain. Our radio show runs on your favorite radio stations, like 630 CHED in Edmonton. Our show is on Sunday afternoons at 3. If you ever miss a radio show, they are archived on Harold's two websites, hesradio.com, and rarecoloreddiamonds.com. The shows are streaming there. We do have a podcast. It's through iTunes. Type in The World Financial Report, and you can find us. Have us on your portable device. You can subscribe to the podcast. The shows will automatically come in. We are portable. We go anywhere you do. Harold's websites, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. The telephone number to connect with Harold is 1-800-432-1022. And Harold's auction website is hsfineauctions.com. This week, and this is a major story, 6 big banks. They were caught rigging the Forex markets, the currency markets, going to pay a $4.3 billion fine. Other banks will be charged and convicted as well and pay big fines. This is just the start. Also, in Switzerland, the regulators there caught UBS playing with the Forex markets and also caught them manipulating gold and silver, in particular, the silver price. So UBS is going to be sanctioned and obviously charged with penalties, not only for manipulating the currency markets, but precious metals as well. As we've said for a long time, everything pretty much is manipulated in the financial markets, whether we like it or not. It's just a matter of having that insurance policy of a hard asset in your possession, in your control, in your portfolio to obviously counteract what's happening with the manipulation in so many different markets. Also this week, a pocket watch sold for a world record $24 million. There were a couple of big events for diamonds. Christie's and Sotheby's had auctions in Geneva, Switzerland. We'll talk about that later in the show, and we have just an absolutely stunning featured diamond. It's a 0.38 carat round, brilliant cut, fancy purple pink argyle. It is absolutely gorgeous. We'll talk more about that later in the show. But 2 quotes we want to get to before we talk with Harold. Jean-Marc Leberher, we've mentioned this before. He's the managing director of Rio Tinto, the diamonds company. The overall price for argyle pink diamonds has tripled since 2000. Neil Dutton, who is the founder of Dutton Rock, says in 2002, the average cost per carat of a pink diamond stood at $13,000. This year, it topped $78,000. The value of fancy light pink diamonds has increased by an average of 20% year on year for the past 5 years, which is outstanding. And to give everyone a bit of an idea, a bit of a teaser of what's to come later in the show, Christie's Geneva Magnificent Jewel Sale, November the 11th, 2014, Geneva, Switzerland. They had lot 311. It was a 15.62 carat fancy pink diamond. The estimate on it, 2.4 to 3.5. Harold, it went for $6.2 million. We'll talk about the auctions and have more results later in the show, but diamonds, hard assets, doing very well in this environment today.
Just very, very pleased, Randy. Just absolutely blown away by those numbers. $13,000, the average price, now up to $78,000 in the last 12 years. There's no other investment in the world that did that. In 2002 from 2002 to 2014, it's just unbelievable. Fancy light pinks. We'll talk about it later in the show, but going up 20% a year for the last 5 years is just representative of what's happening in that market. Again, it's very exciting, and I'll have some recommendations for you later on in the show. And the fact that Argyle Tender Diamonds has tripled since 2000. In 14 years, those diamonds have tripled in value. It's all very exciting. Meanwhile, this week in the markets again have been very volatile. Gold is trading today, it's 1161. So we've spent 2 weeks now below the 1180 level. 1180 was heavy support for the gold market. Once it broke 1180, it spent the last 2 weeks, trading in the 1150 to 1160 range. Gold has actually dropped a substantial amount this week. Silver also. Once silver broke the 1850 level and then broke 1650, we're now trading at 1576. So the sentiment for gold and silver, for precious metals in general, is negative. Now, I've been in business 35 years. I've traded metals and commodities basically for that period of time. And when nobody's paying attention to these markets, whether it's gold or oil or those type of commodities, when nobody's paying attention and people are negative on it, that's the time when these markets can really start to move. See, the fundamentals for gold are still very strong. The fact is that because the U.S. dollar has been strong, it's also pushed down the price of gold because there is a direct correlation between gold and the U.S. dollar. Now, I'm going to take you back to the 90s when the U.S. dollar was the strongest currency. When the U.S. dollar was basically trading as the strongest currency, gold was down at $250 an ounce. When the U.S. dollar started to fall, and it fell all the way to 72.5 cents by 2011, the price of gold went all the way up to $1,900. So that's the correlation between the U.S. dollar and between the gold market. Now, the fact is that we know, as everybody does at this point here, that these markets are manipulated because the governments and the banks and the financial system was so desperate since 2008 that basically anything was done to try to right the ship. Anything was done to try to get the U.S. economy back on track. And to a certain extent, they've done a decent job on that. But they've manipulated the markets, and again, that is a problem moving forward, because those that are on the wrong side of the market, those that are not in the stock market, those that are sitting in the commodity markets for the right reason, are very disenchanted with the futures markets, because it's supposed to be a credible market. In actual fact, the exchanges where commodities are traded on, the exchanges are supposed to back every trade and every financial situation. And now that these markets are being manipulated by these banks, and now the banks have been found out and are being fined billions and billions of dollars, it's now starting to come into the forefront. And we're going to see more and more of this. We know that the price of metals were manipulated down from 2011. When gold hit $1,900 and silver hit $50 back in 2011, it was for a very strong and specific reason. The U.S. dollar was at 72.5 cents at that point. The U.S. economy was in the doldrums. It was in bad shape, and there was a reason why gold and silver had rallied from the prices that we saw in 1999, where gold was at $250, and it went all the way up to $1,900 for the right reasons. Same situation with silver. It went from $3.80 all the way up to $50. So what happened in 2011 that would have all of a sudden changed the view on gold and silver and plummeted the market, in which it did? Well, the fact is that there was nothing in the market at that point that should have dropped the price of gold and silver that substantially. In actual fact, gold was on its way to 2,000, and once it broke 2,000, we felt, and other analysts felt, that we were heading towards gold into the $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 range. So why all of a sudden did the price of gold drop from $1,920 all the way down to $1,180 in a very short period of time? Now, if you ever watch the markets, that never happens unless there's a specific reason for it. And in the gold market, there was no reason. All they wanted was lower gold prices, because higher gold prices signified the fact that there was problems with the U.S. economy and it wasn't getting any stronger. So all of a sudden, one day we woke up and the price of gold absolutely plummeted, and so did silver. And it was done by the exchanges where gold and silver was traded on. And the reason they did that was, again, just because gold signaled that that the U.S. economy was not recovering. So all of a sudden they manipulated the price of gold down, and the way that they did that was by making it so expensive to trade gold in the commodity markets, on the futures markets, that they raise the margin requirements. The price that you pay to buy a gold contract or a silver contract raised 5 times in 1 week. It's never, ever been done in history before. I've traded gold for 35 years, and I've never seen anything like that ever happen before. So all of a sudden, from being the most bullish market in existence, that it went from 250 all the way up to 1900, the market dropped from 1900 to 1180 in one fellow swoop. It was the most incredible thing that anybody has ever seen. And again, there was no reasons for that happening. There was not all of a sudden a huge discovery on gold, or all of a sudden the dollar was a safe. None of that happened. It just happened because they made it happen. And the same thing with the currency markets. The fact that these banks are allowed to trade in the currency markets and manipulate them in the way that they did is absolutely incredible. And the fact is that it's now coming to the forefront. They're going to have to start to pay the piper, but I can guarantee you that they made more than the $4.8 billion on those trades that they're going to pay in fines. The problem is that who trusts the financial systems anymore? You know, those that are sitting in the stock market in the U.S. right now, you know, are extremely happy and bullish, and they don't care what the reason is. They don't care that the unemployment numbers are totally fudged. There's no way in the world that the employment numbers coincide with what's really happening in the United States. There were so many people in October that were let go from corporations, but they don't take that into account. All they talk about is the fact that the unemployment situation is getting better. But it's really not getting better because they're mostly part-time jobs or lower paying full-time jobs. So again, it's unfortunate that we really cannot trust the financial system and trust the governments to do the right thing. There's no credibility in the financial markets at this point at all. Again, those that are on the wrong side of the trade are upset, and we should be upset, because we went into these markets for the right reason at the right time. When we recommended gold back in 1999-2000, nobody was recommending gold. Nobody even thought that gold was a good investment at that point, and we were, at times, the laughing stock. But gold went from 250, and once it broke 300, all of a sudden the mainstream media started picking up on that. Then it went to 400 and 5 and 6 and 800 and 1,000, and all of a sudden it became the most bullish market that there was. And then even during 2008, when the stock markets crumbled all around the world and mostly in the United States and Canada, the fact is gold started taking off again, and so did silver. And that's when silver went to 50 and gold went to $1,920. And then all of a sudden, this started to happen. How does a market go from being extremely bullish to that bearish when nothing happened in the markets to make that happen? It was made to happen because of the situation that I just discussed, where it was looking like the U.S. economy was not getting better, so let's bring down and crash the price of gold. The other thing is that the other reason that they did that is that every futures contract, so if you wanted to buy gold in the futures market, you would go and buy a futures contract. Every futures contract for gold is 100 ounces of gold. Every futures contract for silver is 5,000 ounces. So basically, every time somebody goes into the market to speculate and buys gold and silver, there has to be 100 ounces of gold or 5,000 ounces of silver sitting in the warehouses in New York to back up that contract, because people do take delivery of commodities. Well, the fact is that gold and silver became so popular and so bullish, and everybody was buying it. They were buying it in futures contracts, and they were also buying it in ETFs, exchange-traded funds, and the rules are the same for an ETF. Is that for every exchange-traded fund in gold and silver, there has to be the equivalent amount of physical gold and silver sitting in the warehouse. Well, there was so much gold and silver sold in these ETF contracts and in the futures markets that there was no way in the world that there was enough gold and silver in the world to cover those contracts, let alone sitting in the warehouses in New York. So ultimately, that's the reason that they ultimately dropped the price of gold and silver so heavily and raised the margin requirements, was primarily because what they were doing was illegal. There was not enough gold and silver physically to back up these contracts. So now we sit a few years later, 4 years later or 3 years later, and we've been in a bear market in gold and silver for 3 years. How in the world did gold go from being so bullish to so bearish when really nothing has changed that dramatically in the marketplace? That's how upsetting it is to see the manipulation that has gone on not only in the gold and silver markets, but also in the oil markets and in the currency markets. But that will all change because, again, you can only play with these markets for a certain period of time. And we've seen it happen before, where these markets will all of a sudden revert back to where they were supposed to be. And the move up will be tremendously substantial. And the reason that I'm saying that is just look what happened in 1972 to 1978. What basically happened is that gold started trading at $35 an ounce. And at $35 an ounce, it started picking up steam, and it went to 40 and 50 and 80 and 100. And before you knew it, after a few years, gold was up to $200. It went from $35 all the way up to $200. Very similar to what we just went through when gold went from $250 to $1,900. But once gold got to $200, all of a sudden, it started to sell off. And it sold off, and it dropped by 50%. And it dropped all the way down to $100. And at that point, most people felt that the move in gold and silver was over with. And they lost interest. What happened after that? Gold skyrocketed and went from $100 to $800 in a very short period of time. That's what I'm talking about, and that's why I feel that we're going to see a very similar situation happen. We're not going to have an orderly gold and silver market, not like the one we had from 1999 to 2011. We could depend on that market. We could pick the prices that gold and silver were going to hit because we knew how to read charts. Now, we're going to see a similar situation. There was a 50% retracement in gold back in 1978, 79 in that area, and when people lost interest in the market, all of a sudden gold took off and went from $100 to $800, and fortunes were made again. We believe the same thing is going to happen. So now that gold has broken 1180, and we've been spending the last couple of weeks in the 1150 to 1160 range, there's no doubt in my mind that we're going to see lower prices in gold, because the next major level of support is $1,080 and then $1,000, and the chances are very good, in my opinion, that with what's happening in the markets at this point, that they will bring the price of gold down and test that $1,000 level. I do believe that's going to happen. We're holding off on buying gold at this particular point. We have the opportunity to offer our clients physical gold at spot price when the time is right to do so. I just believe now is not the right time. I do believe that the gold market is still going to continue to fall, and it may test that $1,000 level, and if it does, we're going to be major buyers of gold at that particular time. And we're going to be able to buy it physically. And I'm not going to charge any commissions, and we're not going to charge any spreads, and no financing or no nothing. You're going to be able to make money in the gold and silver market again, but it's going to take till the market bottoms out for us to bring that to fruition. So just sit tight at this particular point. I've always said never leverage your gold and silver holdings. Only hold gold and silver physically. You know, the fact is that when gold and silver was running, a lot of people leveraged their positions because they got greedy. They wanted to make the money. The market was going up substantially, and ultimately when the market went against them, they ended up losing their money. We never did that. I've always suggested to my clients to be conservative and to buy it and own it physically. You want to own physical gold and silver, we're going to bring that to you at phenomenal prices when the time is right to do so. When gold gets down to around $1,000, that will be available to you. On the other situation with diamonds, we do the same thing. Physical diamonds, you never leverage, you own them outright, you put them away, and the results will speak for themselves. So, again, Randy, at this point, I'm still very, very bullish on gold and silver. I believe we're going to see gold in the $4,000 to $5,000 range, going forward, but I think the market has to go a little lower at this point in order to sweep out or get out all the negative shorts that are in the market and then clear the market for it to run higher, just like it did in the late 70s when the market went from $100 to $800.
Connect with Harold at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Speak with him personally and privately at 1-800-432-1022. If you would like to learn more about investing in naturally fancy colored diamonds, rare colored diamonds, go to rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Take a look around. It's like going to a museum online with the world's greatest investment diamonds for you to look at and invest in. If you're interested, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, telephone number 1-800-432-1022. One of the interesting stories we have in our free weekly newsletter, you can get our free weekly newsletter from Herald. We send it out via email every week. Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, he was the United States Assistant Secretary of the Treasury for Economic Policy during the Reagan administration. And it was interesting to hear what he had to say. And it was gold bear market ? He says it's not a bear market in terms of demand. As I've said, the demand for gold and silver has exploded. For example, yesterday, we had the U.S. Mint announcing the suspension of sales of the Silver Eagles. They announced the suspension of it because they don't have enough supply to meet the demand. They can't get enough silver to make the coins. The same thing has happened in Canada with the Royal Canadian Mint now rationing the supply of silver maple leafs because the demand exceeds their ability to meet the market. So the demand for physical gold and silver is not in bear territory. It's one of the greatest bull markets of all time. How can there be a bear market when you can't even buy the coins? It's impossible for any economist to reconcile a situation in which the demand exceeds the supply and the price is falling. That can only be done because the price is established in a fake, phony paper market where you can control the supply by printing contracts. It's a way for the central banks to control the value of the fiat money by artificially driving down the price of gold. There is no other market in which something real is priced in a fake paper market. So what you see happening now is all the people who said, I've got to protect myself, they're printing money, there's going to be inflation, I'm going to buy gold and silver. They didn't understand how the government could rig the price of gold and silver and drive it down in the face of massive money and debt creation. So they made a bet that was rational, and they didn't understand the desperate nature and the corruption in the system. And now that the government has consistently driven the gold price down from 19 to 1150, they're demoralized. They've lost faith. They say, oh, only if I'd been in the stock market. Why did I buy this? I've got to get out. And now some silver and gold investors, are selling their coins. They sell their coins at a time when there is a shortage of coins. The U.S. Mint has stopped selling them because they can't get the bullion to produce them, and the Canadian Mint is on the verge of having to do that as well. Well, that is obviously now is not the time to sell. The indication is that the government has pushed this so far that there's a massive supply problem, and what this policy has done is subsidize all the purchases of gold and silver in India, China, and Russia. They've been able to buy at this rigged low price. It's like a subsidy, this suppression policy. The people responsible for this should be arrested and put on trial. This is a criminal policy, and any economist should understand you can't possibly have a bear market when the demand for bullion is exploding. The supply is constrained and the price is falling. That's the opposite of supply and demand. And so it has to be a rigged price. Rigged prices are illegal even if the authorities are behind it. And really a great synopsis of where we find ourselves today when it comes to investing in gold and silver. We're going to come back and talk about diamonds as the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall, continues right after this. Welcome back to the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial and diamond expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping the show on November 13th, 2014. It's a Thursday. Harold has business on Friday. That's why we're taping this Thursday. Our time is 9:09 Mountain. Radio show runs on your favorite radio stations, 6:30 CHED in Edmonton, Sundays at 3 in the afternoon. And I can tell you that we're on early due to the fact that the Western semifinal is on between our Edmonton Eskimos and Saskatchewan Roughriders. Good luck to the Eskimos. The pregame show with Morley Scott and Dave Campbell is on the way very, very soon. Connect with Harold. You can do it by going to his two websites, rarecoloreddiamonds.com or call 1-800-432-1022. His other website is hsfineauctions.com. Our radio show, if you ever miss one, they're streaming at hesradio.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. We have a podcast through iTunes. Type in The World Financial Report on radio, and you can catch us there. We're portable. We go anywhere you do. It's that simple. We're on your portable device. RareColoredDiamonds.com, featured diamond of the week. This week's diamond is a .38 carat, round, brilliant cut, fancy purple-pink argyle. It is absolutely stunning. As I was saying to Harold off-air, I love the round, brilliant cut. It really shows off the diamond. It is stunning, would be amazing in any piece of jewelry. This week, as I mentioned, Christie's and Sotheby's had sales, magnificent jewel sales in Geneva, Switzerland. And one of the items that we touched on earlier, Lot 311, it was a colored diamond ring, a fancy pink. It weighed 15.62 carats. The estimate on it, 2.4 to 3.5. It sold for $6.2 million. And one of the other items they had, it was just stunning. A pair of colored diamond and diamond ear pendants by Bulgari. The marquee and pear-shaped diamond cluster top weighed a total of 19.28 carats, and just a beautiful, beautiful piece. And the estimate on it, 11.9 to 15 million. It went for $16.1 million. And not only do we have auction results for Christie's, but we also have them for Sotheby's. Sotheby's had an auction the next day, and we have substantial auction prices for that auction as well. And Harold, as we go through the auction results, as you have, time after time after time, we're seeing diamonds just being shown to be an outstanding investment, auction after auction after auction.
I'll tell you, Randy, I couldn't be more pleased, especially with the results of not only this auction, but what they're saying about pink diamonds. You know, back 8 or 10 years ago, when we first started talking about pink diamonds and argyle and all that type of, nobody even knew that these really existed. You know, there's so few pink diamonds in the world. That's why they're so valuable. There's only about 200 carats a year that come out of the Argyle mine, and that represents 95% of all the pink diamonds in the world, and basically that mine is going to close within 5 years. It's been open since 1986. It's been a very productive mine, producing over 30 million carats a year, mostly low-grade industrial white diamonds used to cut other diamonds. But out of the Argyle mine comes the most beautiful pink diamonds you've ever seen. On top of that, the odd orange diamond, the odd red diamond. Reds are the rarest of all diamonds. And even the odd blue diamond comes out of the Argyle mine. You need boron in the ground for a diamond to turn blue. So the fact is that they're famous for their Argyle pinks. But as an investment, nobody even spoke about them because they didn't know how it worked. You know, the fact is that diamonds are primarily sold privately, or they're sold at auction, but they're not traded on exchanges like stocks and commodities are, so nobody could really figure out how much these gems were worth. But the best way to figure out what a gem or anything is worth is to put it up for auction and see what people are willing to pay for it. And all of a sudden, you know, when we looked at the diamond market, and I have dealt with Argyle for a long time, and I knew that they didn't want this to happen, but the mine was on its last legs. It wasn't going to be producing. The quantity and the quality of diamonds coming out of the mine was diminishing, and all of a sudden brown was starting to seep into the mine, which is a signal that the mine is coming to a close. Rio Tinto, who owns the Argyle mine, said last year or 2 years ago that they were getting ready to close the Argyle mine. They're going to try to keep it open as long as possible, but they doubted they'd be able to keep it open longer than 2020, and that's the date that it is going to close. So basically, we only have 5 years left. 5 years to see these markets skyrocket in price, and they've already started to do that. You know, Randy spoke about it, and it is in the newsletter, so if you don't get our newsletter, make sure that you get it from us. It's totally free of charge. But between 2002 and now, 2014, the price of an average pink diamond has increased from $13,000 a carat to $78,000 a carat. From $13,000 to $78,000 in the last 12 years. Is there any other investment that you know of that could give you that type of return with the safety that you have in the rare colored diamond market? Because again, they're not going to be producing any more pinks. There's no place to get them. The prices will only go higher. So again, from $13,000 to $78,000 in the last 12 years is extremely impressive. Now, the price of $13,000 a carat for a pink diamond is ridiculously low, but you've also got to understand that the pink diamonds that we bring to you as investment diamonds are the highest color clarity and color that you can get. The very best and the highest saturation being fancy, vivid pinks. Those are the most expensive. Those are the ones that go up the most in value, and those are the ones that are the most difficult to get. They've got the highest saturation, and those are the diamonds right now that are doubling in 2 years' price. By the time this mine closes, you buy a vivid pink Argyle diamond, and you give it the next 10 years, you're looking at an asset that can go up 1,000%. And I don't know of any other investment that will do that for you. So there's all these different colors of pinks. Most of them are not investment quality. The faint pinks we don't offer at all because they're not investment quality. The fancy or the light pinks, the very light pinks, they start getting into the more expensive diamonds and more valuable diamonds when you start to get into the fancy lights. Now, the fancy vivid is the most extreme color, and they're worth the most. Then comes fancy deep, then comes fancy intense, and then fancy pink. Under that is fancy light pink, and they're very, very valuable. But here's what's happened with these fancy light pinks in the last few years. They've gone up 20% a year for the last 5 years. 20% a year for the last 5 years. What that tells me is that the vivids are becoming expensive, the deeps and intenses are becoming expensive, and they will become more and more expensive as we get closer to the mine closing down, and then also the fancies are getting expensive. The ones that are affordable right now, but they won't be for long, are the fancy light pinks, and we've got some beautiful ones. They're very soft, gorgeous colors. In fact, many of our clients prefer the lighter pink to the very darker vivids. But the fact is that it's showing that as the prices go higher and higher, investors are going to the lesser priced diamonds in order to make their money. And fancy light pinks are going up 20% a year for the last 5 years, means in 5 years you would have doubled your money. However, you're going to see an extreme rush in prices as we get closer to the mine closing down, which is only 5 years from now. Now you've got the Argyle tender diamonds, the diamonds that are over 1/2 carat. These are the most concentrated form of wealth in the world, and those diamonds have basically tripled since 2000. So you've seen a 300% return on those diamonds in the past 14 years. As we get closer to the mine closing down, these diamonds will take on a life of their own and will skyrocket in price. So for those of you that can afford to spend over $100,000 on a vivid, even though I did go into my private inventory because we've had so many clients that are looking to buy the higher colors, but they can't afford them at this particular point. What we did is we went back into my inventory. I've got some smaller Argyle pinks. 95% of Argyles are under 1/4 carat, so they're smaller diamonds anyways. But we've got some diamonds that are in the 17, 18, and 20 pointers that are vivid, that are in the $50,000 range. Those diamonds in 10 years from now will be $500,000. So the fact is that it doesn't matter what the size of the diamond is. Most of it has to do with the color and the fact that they're Argyles. So we're going to see a mad rush in these diamonds. And to buy a vivid diamond that's over 1 carat today, if you could ever possibly get one, they're in the $1 million to $2 million range, depending on how strong the color is. The deeps are getting very expensive. The intenses are getting very expensive, and so are the fancies. That's why people are running to the fancy lights right now, because you could buy a fancy light pink Argyle for a decent price, but they won't be at that price for very much longer. So all in all, the pink diamond market is on fire. I'm so pleased and so happy about this because most of my clients own these type of diamonds. They put them away for their future, for their safety, for their portable private wealth, and they're the best investment that money can buy at this particular point. We're only 5 years away from the mine closing down. Get yourself an Argyle Pink Diamond. You'll make more money and have more safety in an asset like this than any other asset that you've ever owned. So we're very excited with these results. From 2002 to 2014, the price of pink diamonds have gone from $13,000 to $78,000 a carat on average. Fancy light pinks have gone up 20% year over year over year for the last 5 years, and that will get stronger the closer we get to the mine closing. And Argyle Tender diamonds have tripled in price since 2000. So, Randy, I'm ecstatic about this. A lot of my clients own them. We've invested very heavily in these Argyle Pinks. And there's one other thing that you should know, that we are the only company in existence that owns the secondary market to resell our pink diamonds. We own H. Siegel Fine Auctions, which is a company that obviously I own. It's Harold Siegel is my name. But basically, this auction site is virtual. People can attend from all over the world. On December the 11th, I'm holding a charity auction for a children's hospital in West Palm Beach, Florida. It's a charity that is very close to my heart. It's the Alliance for Kids. And the fact is, they came to us and wanted to hold an auction of diamonds to raise money for this children's hospital, and we're doing it on December the 11th. You'll be able to sign up for this. We're going to have 20 pieces, almost everything in finished pieces of jewelry. There will be some beautiful pink diamonds in there. There'll be some magnificent yellow diamonds in there, and the money goes to the charity. So you're going to be able to attend that. But also, what's very exciting about this is that the woman that runs the charity is from a very wealthy family. She's a collector of colored diamonds herself, which prompted her to go to our company. And then number two, her brother runs General Electric worldwide out of Hong Kong, and he supports the charity. So according to what I'm hearing, they will have many of their top financial people from Hong Kong also joining our auction. And the way that they do that is that we have a virtual auction. People from all over the world attend our auctions from the comfort of their own home on their computer, and it's a live auction. Then the exciting thing is the other sibling, there's three of them, is the publicity manager for the star Usher. So we understand that he and his people will be attending this auction also. So December 11th is when this charity auction is coming up. You want to sign up for it. It's going to be a phenomenal auction with magnificent pieces, but the money's going to this amazing charity, Alliance for Kids, and the Palm Beach Children's Hospital. Very, very excited about this. On March the 19th, we're holding a charity auction for the Girl Scouts of America, one of the biggest charities in the world, and we will be announcing our charity auction also coming up for the Susan G. Komen Breast Cancer Charity. So we're very fortunate to be associated with these amazing charities and to be able to donate money and also bring awareness to their fight for breast cancer and for children and for the Girl Scouts by using diamonds, and we're very, very honored that they chose our company because of our auction business. So all this is coming forward. Everybody can participate in it from the comfort of their own home. Randy, we're just ecstatic about what's happening in the diamond market and the fact that these charities are very excited about working with our company, H. Siegel Fine Auctions, to raise money for these very worthwhile causes.
Harold's website, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Featured diamond of the week is a .38 carat, round, brilliant cut, fancy purple pink Argyle. You can see video of the diamond by going to rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Click on Featured Diamond of the Week. You'll see how beautiful this round, brilliant cut is. It's very vibrant, the purple pink, and it's something that would be perfect to start a diamond portfolio. Speak with Harold. Connect with him at rarecoloreddiamonds.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, or call 1-800-432-1022. Get our newsletter this week. It is a must-read. It's the companion to our radio show. If you're getting any other newsletter and it's not the World Financial Report on radio, then get our newsletter. You must read it every week. You can go through it in 5 minutes or spend hours if you want. And in our newsletter, we do have Christie's and Sotheby's sales, the auction results for November 11 and 12 in Geneva, Switzerland. As we touched on, lot 392, a pair of colored diamond and diamond earring pendants by Bulgari, and it was a fancy vivid blue diamond, 19.28 carats, and the vivid blue weighed 6.95 carats. A pear-shaped fancy vivid pink weighing 6.79 carats, mounted in platinum and gold, signed by Bulgari. The estimate on it, like I'd said, around 11.9 to 15 million. It went for $16.1 million. And if you take a look at those pair of colored diamond and diamond earring pendants, they are absolutely gorgeous. We have a picture in our newsletter. Also, a few other results I want to get to. This is from Christie's. Lot 301, a colored diamond ring by Graf, set with rectangular cut fancy intense yellow, weighing approximately 14.18 carats. The estimate on it, $395,000 to $590,000. It went for $716,000. Also, let's switch to Sotheby's. Magnificent Jewels and Noble sale the next day. Lot 416, an attractive fancy intense yellow ring, a diamond ring. The estimate on it, $400,000 to around $600,000. It sold for $1 million. Lot 459, attractive fancy intense pink diamond ring from Graf. The estimate on it, $300,000 to $500,000. It sold for $700,000. Lot 408, fancy intense yellow diamond ring, and the estimate on it, $120,000 to $180,000. It sold for $341,000. Also, lot 351, a fancy yellow diamond and diamond necklace from Graf, and this is a beauty. It's one of the lower priced items, but you can see that it went for well above what it was estimated to go for. 20 to 30 was the estimate. The lot sold for close to $50,000. Also, lot 349, a pair of fancy vivid yellow diamond earrings. The estimate $280,000 to $380,000. It sold for $450,000. And we have many, many more auction results other than that. And Harold, it wasn't just the diamonds that were selling well. There was a 392-carat sapphire that sold for a world record price of $17.3 million. As we can see, hard assets in your portfolio, a must in the times that we live in. And we're seeing the auction results to verify that, yes, there is not only profit, but you're going to have the protection and the profit at the same time, which everyone is looking for in this environment, Harold.
You bet, Randy. This is just really phenomenal. Those results are fabulous. I just don't want people to get the wrong idea. It's not only the multi-million-dollar diamonds that are selling and doing tremendously well. It's the medium-priced diamonds that are doing tremendously well. In fact, percentage-wise, doing better than anything. And that's the market that we bring to our clients. Is even though we do have diamonds that start at $20,000, we have diamonds that go to $30 to $40 million. But the majority of our clients do not buy multi-million-dollar diamonds. The majority of our clients are hardworking families that just want a better deal than what they're getting in the bank and the stock market. And basically, that's what the rare color diamond market gives you. Now, the chances of us ever seeing another situation like Argyle is slim to none. I highly doubt we will ever see in our lifetime another mine that produces 95% of any particular given diamond. So this is an opportunity in pink diamonds that I believe we will never, ever get again. And again, I just want my clients to be in on it because it is something that we would do extremely well with. One other thing that I did want to bring up, Randy, how much time do we have left?
We have about 6 minutes here.
Okay, great. We've been in the mining business for many, many years. My partners are from South America, and their families are fourth-generation diamond people. They own their own diamond mines, and we've expanded their business for them. And we've allowed our Canadian clients to invest with us in this rough diamond business. It's a very profitable business. It's a very safe business. Again, they've had the same clients for decades now. But basically, we've allowed our clients to invest with us in our mining business, and we pay 24% a year U.S. on your investment. On $100,000 invested, you'll make $24,000 U.S. a year for 2 years, or $48,000 profit U.S. on your $100,000 invested. Then you get your money back after 2 years. We deposit the money, or we give you the money every single month. We'll deposit it directly into your bank account. On $100,000, you would get $2,000 a month for 24 months, and then return of your capital. So many of our clients that are retired in Canada found this to be a godsend to them. You know, when you're retired, it's very difficult to make any money or to live off the money that you put away. But our fund has done extremely well, our private investment. We've actually backed it up. So for every dollar that our clients put into this private investment, we put in the equivalent amount of rare diamonds to guarantee our clients' overall investment. So your principal is 100% taken care of, because if we put $20 million into the private investment, we have $20 million worth of diamonds backing it up. So it's a phenomenal opportunity. My company does very, very well. We do 4 buys and sells a year using our clients' funds, and our clients get a 24% return a year for the next 2 years. And we have a 4-year program that will basically double your money over the next 4 years. If that's of interest to you, the minimum account is $25,000. And there's no maximum. On $1 million account, you'll make $20,000 a month U.S. for 2 years, and then return of your capital. So again, it's been a godsend to many of our clients. Again, it's a win-win situation, because my clients do extremely well at 24% a year U.S., and my company does very well because we get to expand our business using our clients' funds. So if you're interested in that, contact us, and we'll explain to you and send you the information via email so you can see whether this is for you or not. Very excited to bring that opportunity to our Canadian clients at 24% a year U.S.
Connect with Harold at rarecoloreddiamonds.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. You can speak with him personally and privately at 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022. And I can tell you, this week you want to get our newsletter to review the Sotheby's and Christie's auction results from Geneva. And I want people to know that we take a lot of time to go through those auction results. Very tedious. We have to be very meticulous going through, and one by one, we go through for you, our radio listeners and clients, to see what's happening in this diamond market and what the potential is. And remember, the most secure and profitable investment, millions of years in the making, Rare Colored Diamonds. Diamonds are nature's art, private, portable, stable wealth. Speak with Harold today about starting your own diamond investment portfolio, or receive a free copy of the weekly World Financial Report on Radio newsletter. Go to rarecoloreddiamonds.com. That's rarecoloreddiamonds.com. You can speak personally and privately with Harold at 1-800-432-1022. That's 1-800-432-1022. And obviously, listen to our radio show every Sunday at 3 on 630 CHED. We're on early due to the football game. And Harold, we have approximately 1 minute left, but can't encourage people enough. Get our newsletter this week. We send it out via email. Take a look at those auction results from Christie's and Sotheby's, and I think people are going to be very impressed at the potential of this diamond market.
Well, I know I am, Randy. Again, I'm very pleased with the results from the auction and the news that came out this week, where pink diamonds have gone from $13,000 to $78,000 in the last 12 years. Fancy light pinks have gone up 20% a year for the last 5 years, and Argyle tender diamonds have tripled in price since 2000. I couldn't be more pleased seeing that our clients are in that market.
Thank you very much, Harold Siegel.
My pleasure, Randy. I wish everybody a wonderful weekend and a very profitable day.
Connect with Harold at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. rarecoloreddiamonds.com. The telephone number, 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022. Our featured diamond of the week. It is just a stunning diamond. I love the cut. This is a cut that you don't see a lot of, but when it's done, it is so beautiful. It's a .38 carat round, brilliant cut, fancy purple pink argyle. Go to rarecolorediamonds.com, click on Featured Diamond of the Week, see the video of the featured diamond there. We have a picture of it in our newsletter as well. Speak about investing in that diamond and more with Harold at rarecolorediamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022. Good luck to our Edmonton Eskimos, the Edmonton Eskimos, Saskatchewan Roughriders, the West semifinal. Hopefully the Eskimos can beat the Riders and play the Calgary Stampeders in the West Final next week. Good luck to the Eskimos. That's it. Another edition of the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall. We will talk to you next week.